Are we ready? I'd like to welcome everyone in the front row to Phoenix, and those of you in the rows as the sun continues to come up. Please welcome yourselves to Scottsdale, Phoenix, Palm Springs, wherever you want to be, where it's really hot. Because right here, it's kind of hot. I'm Marty Witisiak. I'm the chair of the War Memorial Committee here at SDSU. Welcome to the 25th annual Wreath-Laying Ceremony here for this monument. Today, we honor San Diego State former students who died during their military service, the brave Aztecs who gave their lives for our country's freedoms. Although we are day after Veterans Day this year, it is an annual tradition that we have observed during Homecoming Week for a quarter of a century now. And that is because many of the Aztecs whose names are on this memorial, particularly during World War II, left this campus willingly to serve our country and never returned. We honor them by keeping them in our hearts and in our thoughts. We also remember them by reading their names individually, which we'll do at the end of the ceremony. I would be remiss not to recognize Robert Fikes, who for many years has researched and verified the stories of the veterans whose names are inscribed here. Thank you for your dedication, Robert. We also offer a special welcome to the families of the men and women whose names are etched in the granite of this memorial. Thank you for your attendance today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to stand as the San Diego State ROTC Honor Guard presents the colors. Please remain standing for the national anthem by the Marine Band San Diego and the invocation offered by Reverend Dr. Jim Smith.
Detail, halt, left, haste, present, arms. Arms. Left, haste. Forward, march.
Shall we be seated? Privileged to be able to share this morning once again in this amazing commemoration. What a wonderful, wonderful opportunity we have. With permission, I want to share a very simple word before we offer the invocation prayer. That word is that I brought a little something with me that was my mother's. She was in the first class at San Diego State in 1931, and this is her student handbook. We had the privilege of meeting. It's wonderful to see actual people together here. Several of us met to put online a commemoration around Memorial Day. They're early. I know. And that was special in itself. And we mentioned the fact that this is the 50th anniversary of the first class to graduate in religious studies from San Diego State, study of religion as it's called today. And today I want to mention this is the 90th commemoration of the first class on this campus. And so what I'd like to do is read the alma mater from her 1931 book. And in a way that answers a question I got asked several years ago. Again, it was a privilege. Why do we have an invocation prayer? And my basic response was, because this is more than about degrees and credits. This is about who we become as whole people. The word alma itself means soul, as some of us will know in Spanish. And so it is to develop whole people. And with that, the alma mater, respecting all traditions in this place. Fair San Diego, we will praise thy name through all the coming days. Thy faith in us will lead us on when we have crossed our Rubicon. And though we win the world and fame, we'll ne'er forget this precious name. Far down the years when we look back, we'll love the scarlets and the black. Though thy old walls fall to decay, these friendships blessed will live for aye. Like him who taught in Galilee, 'tis best to ever loving be. We walk in godly liberty. Thy truth does make us truly free. Though we may die and live anew, fair San Diego will be true. The alma mater, 1931. My mom, Cornelia B. Rand. Thank you. Let's pray. Gracious God, our great spirits, our Creator, you know our understanding is not complete. And our faith and practice certainly isn't perfect, but you never leave us without a prayer. So today, our pleas and our thank you. Thank you for these here whom we honor, who are lasting examples of your teaching. Greater love has no one than this, that they lay down their lives for their friends. Thank you for their part in larger victories and for their call to us. And this day we pray your loving embrace for them and for all who miss them. And please, you who are eternal, strong to save, protect those in the air and on land and on sea, serving to defend America's best ideals for the good of all. Please, in today's battles, too often with conflict and with COVID, heal us and help us here at San Diego State and in our personal duty stations to love you with our hearts and soul and mind and strength, and our neighbors as ourselves. Bless this time of remembrance, we ask in your holy name. Yours is the kingdom. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Smith. You've been doing this as long as I can remember. And the special tribute to your mother was a beautiful touch. And normally we don't applaud after invocation, but my goodness, that was really something special. And thank you for doing that. We at San Diego State University are pleased to have with us a champion of veterans programs and our military-connected students here on campus. She happens to be the president of San Diego State University, President Adela De La Torre.
Thank you, Marty, and thank you, Reverend Smith. I just have to a moment reflect on that wonderful blessing and reflect really on the gratitude I have. The gratitude that we are all here today. The gratitude that we have these wonderful young men and women on our campus who are devoted to our country, to our university, to our state, who are going to transform and protect us in so many ways. Gratitude to all those individual students who sacrifice their lives because of us to protect our democracy, our capacity for civic engagement. I have to say, Reverend Smith, this is off topic. You motivated me to really reflect on the blessings that we have, and I'm so grateful that you're here today. So thank you. So I want to go now to really in a little more depth about why we are here today, because we really do have a unique experience here at San Diego State. You know, on most campuses, public or private, you won't find an annual wreath-laying ceremony. In fact, it's viewed as unique, unusual. You also won't find this type of freestanding monument like this one honoring former students who perished in the service of our country. That's because San Diego State University is a different type of campus. For 125 years, this university has been a true reflection of the surrounding community, which includes a sizable military presence. There are more than 143,000 active duty personnel in San Diego region, which is also home to over 240,000 veterans. The military is the largest economic cluster in the area by a factor of 2 to 1 over the next largest, which is travel and entertainment. And when I look at Mission Valley that's going to be emerging, one of the areas that I view as a strength is how we will work with the Department of Defense, how we will work with our military. And I feel incredibly blessed that San Diego State has the type of relationship where we not only assume we can, but we will. So this enormous presence that we have is something we feel on our campus every single day. At SDSU, there are more than 4,700 military-connected students, including veterans, active duty military, reservists, and thousands of military-connected family members, inclusive of the entire military experience. We're proud to have them as important members of our diverse community. After their service, to all of us, military veterans may count on San Diego State University to serve them as they begin the transition to the next phases of their lives. Our military and veterans programs are consistently ranked in the top and the best in the nation. A decade ago, SDSU was one of the first 3 campuses in the nation to take part in the Department of Veteran Affairs Vet Success on-campus program, founded in 2009. There are now more than 90 such sites across the country. The program provides a full-time VA counselor to assist military and veteran-related students with federal and VA benefits and programs. The Jack McGrory Bunker serves as a home away from home for our student veterans on campus, housed in the Barron Veterans Center. The McGrory Bunker provides a place for military and veteran students to relax and study. So thank you to our keynote speaker, Jack. Thank you so much for supporting our veterans and your contributions to our university. It makes a difference, not only to our veterans, but to our military affiliates at SDSU. Another important resource is a Women's Veteran Success Program. The program helps to foster academic success, professional development, and personal growth for our many female student veterans. And our Military Ally Program conducts awareness seminars to grow a strong network of faculty, staff, students, and community members as partners in fostering success among our military-connected students. Our Troops to College Committee brings together a diverse mix of campus offices, departments, and agencies to share best practices and information to assist veterans. SDSU Troops to Engineers supports graduating military students with career entry through assistance with resume preparation, employment workshops, internships, and career pathway options. And there is much, much more we do to prepare our student veterans for continued accomplishment. In addition to each of these efforts, we turn to the powerful symbol of our commitment to military connected students, the granite obelisk. This monument stands as an ever present reminder to our military connected students, past, present, and future, that your service is respected here. Your sacrifices are honored here. You are welcome here. You are a valued part of our SDSU community. We support your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, and we are committed to preparing you to achieve your desired path. Many of the former students represented by the 239 names here on the War Memorial were never able to reach their full potential. They were tragically stopped short of realizing their dreams. But through this monument, with their lingering presence and what is vitally important in today's day and age, they can continue to inspire us to follow new pathways, to seek new discoveries, to achieve ways they could never have imagined. With their leadership, their sense of duty, and their selflessness, they served us. With their leadership, their sense of duty, and their selflessness, they continue to be in our imagination. They continue to serve us, and they will serve future generations here at SDSU. Thank you so much.
Thank you, President Delatorre. The War Memorial Committee on the campus here is actually part of the Alumni Association. We fall under the Alumni Association. So we're privileged to have the president of the SDSU Alumni Board of Advisors with us today, and she's going to give us a few words. Thank you, Charlotte Ochiki.
Thank you, Marty, and thank all of you for taking the time to pay tribute to the memories of the 239 Aztecs whose name you see on this monument. It is an honor for me as president of the SDSU Alumni Board of Advisors to represent the university's alumni at this 25th annual War Memorial Ceremony. As alumni, it is up to us to serve as keepers of San Diego State University's many great traditions, and this is one of our most venerated. A quarter century ago this month, November 23rd, 1996, the founders of this monument realized their long-held vision of providing an eternal tribute to their friends and classmates who they loved and missed. Their lives had been forever changed by World War II. Back in the 1940s, this campus was much smaller. Almost everyone had a connection to a fellow student who was sent to a distant place to fight the war. There was a deep sense of personal loss across the entire campus when many did not return. The students who were left behind and those who eventually returned vowed never to forget the sacrifices of those who served but could never come home. They worked for many years to create the monument, and what you see here behind me today is a result of their promise. They worked for decades to fund, design, and build this tribute. And in that time, even more Aztecs were lost to conflicts in Korea and Vietnam. While these losses were less personal to the founders, those alumni kept one thought in mind, that these were Aztecs who served and died as part of their service. And on this campus, they deserve respect and remembrance for that, always. As Aztec alumni, it is our responsibility, especially those of us on the Board of Advisors, to honor the spirit of the founders and continue to pay tribute to the people, our fellow Aztecs, whose names are listed here before you. Sadly, over the 25 years since this monument was dedicated, there have been more conflicts. More of our fellow Aztecs have served in places like Afghanistan and Iraq and have paid the most horrible price of war. We continue to honor their sacrifice here too. 25 years ago, right here at this spot, when the founders launched this memorial, they set an example for us. Our duty remains to follow it. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. And you've heard from our speakers today, and you probably get the sense that this is a campus that welcomes the military presence and the veteran presence on it. We actually have one of the largest and most noteworthy student veteran organizations in the country that's right here at San Diego State. And we're privileged to hear from the president of San Diego State's Student Veteran Organization, Aiden Daly.
Morning, everyone. I'm Aiden Daly, and I'm proud to stand before you today representing the student veterans of San Diego State University. Although this is my first semester as SVO president, I am well aware of the tradition and history behind this event, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. I'm a third-year business student, and I'm also a four-year veteran of the United States Marine Corps, having followed 2 generations of my family into military service. 2 of my grandparents were in the service, one in World War II and the other in Korea. An uncle served in Vietnam, a cousin who's still in the Marine Corps fought in Afghanistan, while another who enlisted after 9/11 became a Green Beret and was deployed in Iraq. In my family, service is important. I mentioned 9/11 because a couple months ago, we observed the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. 9/11 is significant to me and many other veterans because it had such an influence on our service. As I got older, I made the connection from that day with my decision to enlist. I came to see how 9/11 figured into so many of each other's decisions. I now know why most of them didn't hesitate to leave this beautiful campus and their friends and loved ones and sign up to be sent to fight in strange and distant lands all over the earth. It was for a greater purpose, and this monument stands as a reminder of that. Just seeing the names and knowing that these people had similar motivations to our own is important to all the veterans here. It sends a message to us that sacrifices of military members and those of their families are acknowledged and appreciated at this school. This memorial also gives us a place to reflect and remember what our military friends and families have invested in order to serve. That's meaningful to many of us, and certainly to me. What this monument and this event and all of you here today say to us is that we have a place here, that we are part of this community, and that we are welcomed here. We know our service is respected, our ambitions encouraged, and our educational objectives and goals are supported. On behalf of all SDSU student veterans, thank you for that. And to all those men and women whose names are on this monument and whose service was cut short, I also offer our humble thanks. For the 25th year, we are all here today to honor your service and your ultimate sacrifice. Through this annual event, for the next 25 years and beyond, you will be remembered. Thank you.
Thanks, Aiden. Each year, we sponsor a writing contest to help bring awareness to the War Memorial, and we ask that students enter the writing contest. This year, the response was overwhelming. We had so many essays to read, and we had trouble deciding which were the award winners that was our first problem, and then second of all, which ones we would read at the ceremony. And they were so good that we eventually decided to have all 3 of the top award winners read. So we're pleased to have our students here today that are going to read their essays in order. And please come up one after the other. Elizabeth Carlson, John Pugh, and Sydney Harold.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. These names, forever etched in this stone, hold a special place in our hearts. Breathing in its significance, thank them. We walk SDSU's campus just as they did. We sit in the same classrooms, root for the same football team, and earn the same degrees. The only difference between us and these names on this monument are these SDSU students paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Thank them. Having family and friends who have served our country is a normality for San Diegans. Living in a military town, we understand firsthand the importance of military service. We know the physical and emotional strength it takes to fulfill their responsibility of protecting our nation. Thank them. We are able to stand here together because these fallen soldiers answered the call of duty. They went to war to protect us, in turn allowing us our freedoms. We can easily take this for granted, walking by these names daily, not thinking about their significance. Thank them. These names here died on the battlefield. Their actions displayed their true colors. They showed their courage while fulfilling their mission as a service member. Be proud to be an Aztec just as they were. Thank them. We still live on in our hearts. Next time you walk to your dorm, your office, student union, send thanks to these heroes. Thank them for their dedication, bravery, and loyalty to America. Their patriotism allows us to live free. Thank them. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is John. This is my grandfather's flight jacket from World War II. And I've never worn it outside because I keep it in a safe above my bed, but thought today was the day. So my name is John, and I'm a junior here at SDSU. Both of my grandfathers fought in World War II. One of them was the fighter pilot whose jacket I'm wearing today. And as a tribute to both my grandfathers and 12 veterans, I wrote a short poem from the perspective of the War Memorial. And there are some silences in here, so just letting you know. And to avoid any confusion, at the very end, I'll say thank you. I stand tall, noble, and gray, to remember the days men had stolen away. In the prime of life, as I am today, to distant shores ventured husbands and sons, some to defeat fascism, others the rising sun. To triumph, to duty, to brotherhood and fight, where the blanket was too heavy by noon and not quite heavy enough by night. In the mud they toiled, the oceans they forded. To war they went, to blood, to last breaths, and valiantly peace they restored. As the next generation comes, as history grows increasingly distant, I urge you all to remember them, to not take them for granted. Selflessness, courage, their names are etched upon my breast, never to be erased. I am a way to never forget. My jagged crown, wounded like an amputee, never heals nor should it. An amputee cries out and a mother does the same, one of body, one of heart, but both of equal pain. My jagged crown, wounded like an amputee, never heals nor should it. For I am stone, not flesh and bone, and I stand for those who are absent. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. I am a student. I desire to learn and research and explore. I am not the only one. Most everyone who crosses a college campus is a student. The people on the SDSU War Memorial were students too. Curiosity, a trait shared among us. Research has led to a document over 200 pages long, containing the histories of every name on the memorial. People who were not forgotten, people who had lives and family and friends. Recognition and honor, something they didn't fight for. They fought for their ideals, for their country, and for other people, and inadvertently, for you and for me. Together, we shaped this school. We embraced the unknown and struggled to grow. Together, We, the students, created a monument to remember those who came before us, those who lost their lives while they still had so much to experience. Personal. I do not know any of the people on the monument, but I might know someone in the future. The students at San Diego State are people who desire to learn, explore, and fight. We always have been and always will be selfless. We fight for causes bigger than ourselves. For those who gave their lives fighting for their causes deserve recognition and remembrance from their fellow Aztecs and everyone who visits our school. I am proud that the SDSU War Memorial has such a prominent position on our campus because it shows the importance of the people named on the pillar to the community. We are students. Thank you.
Wow. Nice job. We're so proud of you. And the creativity that it takes to write those words and the emotion and meaning that you bring to this ceremony for these 239 real names. Thank you. One of the biggest jobs the committee has every year is to find the right keynote speaker. And we definitely did that this year. One thing we don't tell the keynote speaker is that he has to follow that. And he or she doesn't learn that until they're at the ceremony. But please give me a couple minutes to introduce you, Jack, because you have quite a list of hats that you've worn and contributions that you made, and I'd like to introduce you, and in that time you can kind of get ready to follow that. Jack McCrory has worn many hats throughout his career. Currently, he is the CEO of the real estate investment company La Jolla MJ Management LLC. He also served for more than 6 years as a San Diego city manager and as part of his 23 years working for the city of San Diego. Jack was president and CEO of Price Enterprises, and for a time he was the COO of the San Diego Padres and president of the subsidiary responsible for building Petco Park and the adjacent commercial development. Jack also served on the boards of corporate and community organizations, and presently is a member of the CSU Board of Trustees. But in addition to the many hats he has worn as a civilian leader, Jack also wore a helmet in the United States Marine Corps. His support for SDSU student veterans is unparalleled. In fact, the gathering space that President Delatorre mentioned in the Veteran Center, where many of them study and relax, is named after him. Jack understands them because he was once one of them. And he was a veteran working towards his master's degree in public administration that he now holds from San Diego State. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our keynote speaker, fellow Aztec, Jack McCrory.
Thank you, Martin. This is always one of the best events of the year for me to come out here and celebrate a great military tradition at San Diego State. Unfortunately, I woke up this morning without a voice, which is unusual for me. But I was asked to kind of summarize how I got to become a veteran. And I grew up in South Boston in a working class Irish Catholic family. None of my relatives were career military, but all of them had served in World War II. And I would listen to their stories. My dad left high school after his junior year at 17 and went to fight in World War II. He fought as a staff sergeant in MacArthur's 41st Army, went from Australia, 7 combat campaigns, and he was the 1st regiment in Tahiro in Japan. The great story is he told this to Fox News one night when he was interviewed. Said, "Tell us a secret." They said, "Tell us a secret about World War II." And he said, "Well, we were getting off the troop ship. We all had our weapons and we had our ammo, and the Japanese regiment was supposed to bow down to us in a symbol of their surrender. And as they were getting off the ship, the CEO collected all the ammunition because they were afraid they were going to shoot these guys. And the Japanese regiment turned around in formation with their backs to them. And he then spent 6 months in Japan trying to settle things down. I had lots of relatives in the war. I have, thanks to Derek Abbey, I think we're going to locate his plane. I lost a cousin who's a Marine Corps pilot over Guadalcanal, and Derek is in charge of Project Recover, which is to bring all of the American veterans back. And I think we can do that in the next couple of years with his plane. And another cousin who is a staff sergeant on Guadalcanal. He was shot 11 times, lost a leg, and got the Silver Star. And I have an uncle who was in the Normandy invasion at the end of the first day, got shot later on, and he recovered, and then he got captured as a POW in the Battle of the Bulge. So I would listen to these stories, and in my junior year in college, I had no idea I was going to go into the military. And then the guy named Melvin Laird was the Secretary of Defense. And one night on national TV, he starts a draft lottery. And they pull golf balls out of a basket, and that determined where you were going to be at in the draft. And I was October 12th, and I was number 72. I said, I'm screwed. And then I had to pick a branch of the service. So the day I graduated from college, the draft notice showed up, and I said, this is going to have to be a quick decision. And I went and looked at all the uniforms of the services. This is a really classy way to figure out where you're going to go. And I said, the dress blues the Marine Corps have are the best uniforms in the service. Sorry to all the Navy people here. I said, I'm going to really be cool socially with a dress blue uniform. So I went down to OCS, 14 weeks, and then got commissioned. Went to the basic school for another 8 months. Oliver North was my infantry instructor. That was an experience by itself. And then I get my orders to Vietnam. I was an infantry officer. I was in the last class at Quantico to get orders to Vietnam, and I ended up in Da Nang, and I picked up my rifle platoon as a rifle platoon commander, and we were getting ready to fly up to the DMZ where the 9th Marines were, and my battalion commander comes into our squad bay and says, "You're not going up to the DMZ." I said, "Where are we going to go?" Well, we just got pulled out of Vietnam. We're all going to Okinawa. And I said, "Wow, this is from one place to another in 24 hours." And we ended up there and trained all over Asia. And I came back for 2 years at Camp Pendleton and had a blast. I was a rifle company commander. I was in charge of the same rifle company that my cousin got the Silver Star in, 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines Echo Company. I was near the end of my time there, and the general came in and said, I really love basketball. I said, okay, that's great. Well, you're going to be the player coach of the basketball team since you played in college. I said, okay, and you can go around the base and pick the best players you can play. And so the 1st Marine Division was my division team, and we won the Marine Corps championships. And I don't think we lost any game. We won by at least 10, 15 points every game. It was crazy. And he came in and said, I want you to stay another 2 years. And I said, I'm not going to stay and play basketball. Okay. I need to go start a real career. And so he said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to work for the city of San Diego. I'm going to start as a trainee, and then I'm going to move, I'm going to move up. So what do you want to be? I said, city manager. And so 16 years later, I was city manager. And the first guy in my office was Colonel Riley. He'd say, well, you did it, you SOB. That was fun. But I've had a great career, lots of fun. Love working with Adela. She's just been a great president. The Mission Valley project is so much fun for us. And we open that stadium next year, and it's going to be just a tremendous asset, along with all the other things that are going on in the community. But most importantly today, I think we need to recognize the 239 names that are on this memorial. This is the coolest memorial in the entire 23 campus CSU system. I mean, the space here, its prominence on the campus, it's really incredible. And we really think it's fantastic that San Diego State has partnered up so closely with our military. Todd Kennedy is here, who's one of my scholarship kid guys, not a kid anymore, who runs the Veteran Center. Derek Abbey is here, as you know. Martin, we thank you for all of the things you're doing here to make this event such a cool thing every year. But we need to really think about these 239 names, what they went through, the sacrifices they made, being in combat, being under fire, giving up your life in defense of the United States. It's an incredible sacrifice, and they all did it, all 239. They all have an individual and unique story, how they got to state. They're not Democrats. They're not Republicans. They're not independents. They're Americans, most importantly. And they believed in the United States. And they were willing to train and fight and sacrifice for this country. And we appreciate everything that they have done for us. And thank you to all the family members who are here who support them, who miss them. And we appreciate your sacrifice as well. Thank you.
Jack was apologizing for his voice. Can you imagine a better voice? That was phenomenal. Whatever side of the bed you woke up on this morning to get that voice, that's a good one. All right. Well, thanks, Jack. And now it's time for us to move to the wreath-laying portion of the ceremony. At this time, I would like to invite all of those who are presenting wreaths and floor tributes to please assemble in the back for the wreath laying. I'll ask the band to play the Navy hymn as we bring up the wreaths. The first wreath is presented by SDSU alumni. Representing SDSU alumni, Marlene Ruiz. The second wreath, since this is the 21st anniversary, we're laying it on behalf of the San Diego State War Memorial founders. Representing the War Memorial founders is current committee member Gilbert Harrison. The next wreath is laid on behalf of the Military and Veterans Program here at San Diego State. Representing Veterans Programs, Todd Kennedy. Her last wreath today is laid on behalf of the San Diego Air Force Association. Representing the San Diego Air Force Association, Charles Clark. Thank you, Corporal. And now I'd like to bring the Student Veteran Organization President back up. Aiden Daly will lead in the reading of the names.
The former students whose names are listed on this monument will always be a part of this campus and always be remembered. But my fellow Student Veteran Organization officers and I feel it is most important to say their names as well out of respect and gratitude. At this time, we will recognize each member on the memorial by name and present them with bouquets totaling 239 carnations as a personal and individual tribute to each one. At the conclusion of the name reading, please remain silent as taps is performed by Marine Band San Diego. John E. Abbott, Raymond L. Adair, Herman H. Adelson, Robert M. Alber, James N. Amos, Martin F. Anderson, Thomas Ariano Jr., Roger W. Armbruster, Richard D. Aubert, Alan R. Bailey, Richard H. Bailey, William E. Baldwin, Joe M. Barkley, John W. Bassett, William C. Batchelor, John I. Beck, Claire V. Burdell, Jack N. Berg, J. Burdett Brinkley, John W. Borum, Frank S. Braisted, Warren W. Brown, Forrest P. Brown, Richard W. Birch, Jack Burgess, Bruce Van Brewskirk, John C. Butler, Raul Cayo, Wesley E. Carter, Gordon C. Chamberlain, Dennis R. Chamberlain, Richard Wilson Clark, Richard Winton Clark,
Richard R. Clark, Robert W. Cochran, Thomas H. Cousins, Harold D. Curry, George R. Dahl, Thomas J. Davies, Edward B. Davis, Sherman Denny, Charles Dowell, Leslie W. Duvall, Wesley P. Eby, Howard J. Engel, Clifford G. Erdman, George R. Ewing, Adalbert Faulkner, Paul A. Fern, Don L. Finney, Gilbert O. Fitzel, Howard Flisrand, John J. Frazier, Claudie Freakerson, Jack Frost, Robert M. Fuller, Lyman J. Gage, Joseph N. Gates, Clinton B. Gady, Al Goodell, William S. Goodchild, Robert Daniel Graham, Robert A. Griffith, Frank J. Goosty, Stanley D. Goo, George E. Hammond, Warren E. Hand, James C. Harden, William S. Hardshaw, Mason Harris, William Headington,
Edward L. Iblum, Douglas A. Jacks, Kenneth L. Johnson, Paul W. Johnston, Charles P. Jones, Richard F. Cates, Arthur J. Kelly, James D. Coaster, Paul Kramer, Robert J. Landis, Wendell E. Langford, James G. Leonard, Alan V. F. Levine, Jack Mendana, Howard E. McBride, Lyle J. McLaughlin, J. B. McGrew, George R. Motor, Francis H. Moore, Ray E. Moore, Kenneth B. Moyer, Raymond W. Muller, Russell Newberry, John R. Nolan, Frank D. Oliver, Donald C. Owen, Royal A. Parks, James P. Parks, Sam J. Patella, Robert G. Peterson, A. Milky Phelps, Leo Poole, Craig Potter, Gilbert Kwan, Lynn E. Rogers, Kramer W. Rohrig, George D. Redoso, Richard W. Roth, James Ruth, Francis R. Ryan, Alvin D. Sosh, William E. Sage, James Samuels, Joseph H. Savage, Richard J. Swawa, Edward L. Swirl III, Maxwell B. Sherwood, Bill B. Straussreier, Paffel Simpson, Fred Simpson, Paul Sorotin, Thomas A. Skinner, Curry B. Smith, Robert H. Smith, Frederick B. Smith, Samuel C. Spade, John F. Stevenson, Victor R. Talbot, William H. Taylor, Ross A. Tenney, Clarence F. Terry, Jerry E. Thomas, Alan Thomas, Walter L. Titchener, Parker Totten, Frank R. Verdusco, John H. Vaught, John T. Vaught, Peter L. Volz, Russell D. Wahlberg, Mark P. Wangness, Donald A. Weber.
Clarence White, Clea E. Williams, Robert James Williams, Maurice G. Wilson, Louis M. Wynn Jr., Charles M. Witt, William T. Wood, John H. Adams, Isaac S. Best, Byron H. Chase, Kenneth W. Cox, Robert Dowdy, Norman N. Freeman, Hiram G. Glotfelder, Donald H. Hage, Robert G. Harvey, Charles C. Kinney, William R. Lake, Donald W. McCormick, Charles R. Miller, Leroy A. Morgan Jr., Robert C. Nita, Thomas H. O'Brien, Lester F. Page, William R. Patton, Richard Phillips, George C. Pierce Jr., Willis Preston Smith, Herbert L. Tompkins, Robert Joseph Williams, Francis A. Barnes, Gerald D. Bell, Howard R. Bowling, William G. Bradshear, Ronald H. Brown, Michael T. Burns, Daniel C. Carrier, Rodney B. Carter, David M. Christian, Michael G. Crawford, James P. Crook, Daryl W. Crum, Ronald L. Davidson, Richard A. Deledy, Thomas F. Durbin, Lauren E. Enstorm, John L. Finn, Robert M. Foley, Ralph E. Folks Jr., Peter W. Gilmore, Larry Heimer, Henry Hudson Jr., Dennis A. Jenkins, Stephen D. Joyner, Frederick M. Cash, Robert V. Kurlich, Kenneth J. Lamberton, James F. Lang, John G. Ledowski, Victor W. Liu, John P. Markin Jr., Jeffrey L. Martin, James M. Mitchell Jr., Ronald E. Morgan, Maurice C. Morrell, William C. Neistel, Charles L. Parker Jr., George W. Pearson Jr., Walter J. Peters, Terry W. Radcliffe, Eugene L. Rathman, Gerald R. Roberts, Robert W. Romero, Paul W. Rose, David J. Rose, Gerald M. Rumble III, Richard L. Russell, Charles J. Scharf, John W. Tunnel, John A. Vogue, William E. Walters, George W. Ward, Euless N. B. Wilkes Jr., Gene T. Wright.
Matthew G. Axelson, Florence Bakong Cho, Jason W. Davis, Christian J. Hescock, Oscar A. Jimenez, Andrew D. Lamont, Justin L. Donahue, Jason J. Painter, Thomas E. Retzner.
seated. Thank you for the Marine Band. Thank you to the Marine Band for the beautiful echo taps. And thanks, Aiden and your team, for reading the names. This concludes our ceremony, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody handed me a note during the ceremony that maybe Jess Dominguez is here. Jess Dominguez is the artist who designed the obelisk, and the committee, and he was a member of our committee for many, many years. I heard that he might be here today. Whether or not he's here, thank you, Jess. I also want to personally thank all the members of the committee who work hard throughout the year to put this ceremony together. And I think you've done a wonderful job once again. Thank you very much for all your work. It's just an amazing group of volunteers who give their time and effort to us as to make this event happen every year. I'd like to also thank all of you again for coming out to the desert today and attending this ceremony. Please feel free to join us for a reception. It'll be just above in the patio in the Conrad Premies Student Union up here. Thanks again for coming. Have a great homecoming weekend. Beat Nevada.
Great job yourself.
Thanks again. I know. Yep. Oh, I didn't hear it.